Last of the First. Chapter 2. Primary Directive. Protect... ponies? Oi, over here! I inwardly groaned as I heard a familiar yet annoying voice pierce the silence of the oceanic city. It was like any other splicer's voice, really. Two-toned. Like, literally two-toned. It's creepy as hell. Garbled and reeking of idiocy. Well, honestly, I just added the idiocy part, but it's the same thing, really. Let alone the fact that some have accents that I really can't describe. Metal feline, over here! Those are some hella fireworks, eh? It's getting better every year, isn't it? See what I mean? I turned towards the splicer, letting out a loud metallic groan as I did so. It was the only noise I could make after my voice box was removed and all. Well, that and growling, but that's only when I was annoyed. It didn't make much of a difference, though. I always sounded as if I was mad. However, the splicer who was currently holding onto a lead pipe he scavenged just chuckled. They had all gotten used to me being here, especially since they couldn't really get rid of me. I take it that was a yes? I didn't even bother to dignify that with a response, as I just turned and left. Hey, alright, I'll leave you be. See you around, big guy. The sound of his footsteps rushing away from me was a welcome relief. I would never understand splicers. 1 second, they act all buddy-buddy to me, as if they'd known me for years, and the next they're trying to cut me up, beat me to death, burn me alive, or turn me into Swiss cheese. In that order. It's things like these that make me realize that this is my life. I'm alone. I can't talk. I'm in a 2-ton metal suit, and I can't die. Isn't life beautiful?
Now that every pony is present, I will go over the mission once more.
Princess Celestia told the large group of guards and missionaries that stood before her. Prince Blueblood stood to her left, a bored expression on his face as usual, and Princess Luna stood to her right. The guards were all standing in attention in front of the royal family, though particularly Luna and Celestia, and the missionaries were trying their best to do the same. As for the two snooping ponies behind the pillar, they were carefully peering their heads around the side in their hiding places as they try to get a better view of the situation.
In a matter of moments, Luna and I will teleport all of us into an unknown kingdom in the Pacific Ocean. Our mission is to find the leaders of this kingdom and attempt to make peace with them. We are not to separate from one another under any circumstances. The kingdom will only remain visible for 12 hours, and due to the conditions that it is under, my sister and I will only be able to make one large-scale return teleportation spell. It is because of this that we all must stay together.
As the Solar Princess explained, Fluttershy felt her heart begin to beat at a faster rate.
Wait, what would happen if we weren't close enough? Oh dear,
she thought. Rarity remained as excited as ever, though, not even slightly fazed by the troubling issue that may arise on their journey.
If every pony is ready, we will begin immediately.
Princess Luna continued, both her and Celestia's horns beginning to glow. It was at that moment that every pony in the room shared one respective thought. This is it. Fontaine Fisheries, a once bustling place of work where fishermen and collectors of all sorts could once obtain exotic undersea fish that could never be found near the surface. However, now it was a dark and abandoned place, long left to rot by time. Or at least it used to be. A blinding light flashed in the center of the room atop a boardwalk-like platform that the workers of the area used to easily maneuver the room, before just as quickly dimming itself, revealing a large group of over 50 ponies, each one with proud and confident looks on their faces. Until they actually looked around the room. Several of them, the princesses included, looked towards the glass walls in wonder and awe, amazed that they were truly under the ocean. To them, this was unheard of. Not even the most advanced pony societies from ancient times could have been able to construct something such as this, and they all knew it. However, while they all marveled at the sight that surrounded them, two certain ponies simply found it to be damp and disgusting. One of which having been teleported under the boardwalk with her Pegasus friend, luckily remaining hidden from the sight of any other ponies.
Oh, damn it! My mane is getting absolutely soaked! What kind of kingdom is this? Underwater or not, they should at least have the decency to make sure that there aren't any leaks about this place. How dreadful!
She exclaimed as quietly as possible towards Fluttershy. However, Fluttershy was currently in as much of a state of wonder as the others. It was simply so beautiful for her to see the ocean from beneath, despite the ill-kept condition of the room. There was a moment of silence as every pony fought to remove themselves from their states of admiration towards this remarkable sight so that they could continue their mission. Luckily, Princess Celestia did just that.
Every pony, we must stay focused. Remember, we have a limited amount of time to find the leaders of this kingdom and make peace. We will marvel at the sights in a later time.
All of the guard ponies and missionaries moved their focus to the princess almost instantly, their 2 hidden tagalongs doing the same.
Yes, of course.
Celestia's sister Luna confirmed, though she herself was as much glued to the sights as any pony else.
In order to start, we need to find one of the civilizations of this kingdom. It is highly likely that they will be able to guide us to their leader.
Every pony nodded in affirmation. The princesses both nodded back before heading off deeper into the fisheries. The squads following them tirelessly while their 2 spectators snuck from place to place at a reasonable distance, doing their best to remain hidden. However, the 2 ponies were not the only ones sneaking around. One familiar splicer with which the metal feline of Rapture had recently interacted with had watched over and seen the whole thing. At first, he believed that he had simply taken a bad hypo of Eve, or perhaps drank too much old whiskey for his mind to handle, but after his initial shock, he quickly realized that he was not hallucinating the strange talking creatures that had appeared before him from out of thin air. Curious as to where they were going, the splicer followed the group using the air vents above them, an ill-conceived thought of their demise already forming in his tumor-filled mind. It had already been 9 hours since the group had begun their search, and still they could not find any citizens of this kingdom. Rather, all they found was wreckage and ruins that surrounded them. Things that used to hold beauty, now rusted and crumbling with age and mistreatment. They were beginning to think of the kingdom as less amazing and more abandoned.
Sister, how have we still not found any pony as of yet?
The younger of the 2 sisters asked the other.
Yes, Auntie, how have we still not seen any pony? One would think that these peasants would at least be plentiful even in such filth.
Blue Blood complained while also agreeing. Princess Celestia couldn't really answer their questions though, for she as well was at a loss. However, the splicer who had been following them knew perfectly well why they hadn't seen anyone. Earlier that day, the splicers had suggested celebrating the New Year's with a round of drinks for everyone, so it was likely that they were all still at the taverns, drinking themselves into comas. He knew that he couldn't take on this large group on his own, even with his demented mind. So, he had decided to follow them instead.
Perhaps you both have a point. It is likely that this kingdom has been deserted for some time now. Well, I believe it is time for us to return.
The splicer's eyes widened at this. He couldn't simply allow them to leave. Not yet, at least. "Oi! Up here!" he shouted towards the group. The crowd of ponies looked towards the ceiling, slightly shocked to see such a strange and, at a lack of better words, hideous creature. They didn't comment on this though, preferring not to make offense to what may be the average appearance of such creatures. Even Fluttershy, the kinder of all ponies there, still hidden in sight with Rarity by her side, couldn't help but flinch at the creature. The splicer, happy that he had gotten their attention, jumped down from his high position within the vents, landing feet first onto the floor, though rather sloppily, and looking towards the group with a creepy and eroded smile. However, the princesses pushed the appearance of this creature aside. After all, he was the first citizen that they had met in the kingdom.
Greetings.
The Pony of the Sun greeted.
I am Princess Celestia, the co-ruler of the kingdom of Equestria, alongside my sister Princess Luna.
She gestured towards her sister as she continued to look towards the disfigured being, a smile of kindness adoring her muzzle. The splicer's demented smile grew as he let out an inwardly sarcastic bow at the princess. "Hello, princesses. Name's Rodney Jarrett. It's nice to meet ya." He introduced himself in return. "Now then, what can I do for you?" The princesses of Day and Night were slightly offset by the being's odd way of talking, along with almost every pony that had accompanied them, but they ignored this issue nonetheless. Princess Luna took a step forward and began to explain the reasoning for arriving.
You see, Rodney, my sister and I have come to this mysterious kingdom in the hopes of making peace. If you would be so kind as to point us in the direction of your leader, we would be most thankful indeed.
The splicer barely held back a laugh at this. Peace? In Rapture of all places? Wherever these candy-colored horses had come from, it obviously was not here. "Leader, eh? Hang on a tick, would ya?" The splicer said as he raised his hand to his chin and began to think up a lie. It needed to be something convincing, something that would work to his advantage in the long run. A mischievous grin passed about his face as he thought up the perfect leader for this little ruse. Well, normally I'd say we splicers run the show around this aquarium, but the metal feline would probably be a leader in any case. Yeah, he would. The princesses put on faces of confusion as he told them this fib.
A metal feline? A feline is the leader of your kingdom.
Every pony else was just as confused as the princesses were, unsure of what to make of this metal feline. The splicer burst out laughing, once again causing a majority of the ponies to flinch. What, like a cat? No, Lord no, we splicers ain't that crazy, we ain't, he explained to the confused group. We just call him that because no matter how many times we kill him, he just won't stay dead. He's one of the persistent fishes, he is. Every pony in the room's mouths and eyes widened at this remark for two reasons. One, this being had just mentioned killing someone without even batting an eye, even though murder was rare in a place such as Equestria. Two, how could a being be killed again and again yet still come back? You'll know him when you see him. He real big, glowing eye, covered in heavy stuff made of metal, and real quiet-like. Mostly because the porpoise can't even talk no more. As he explained this, he was cut off by the distant sound of heavy thumps, growing closer and closer, little by little. This was his chance. Here he comes now! Spot of luck for you, isn't it? He said before running off around the corner, stopping just short of exiting their sight. Oh, and I'll be getting the rest of the boys here to meet you. I'm sure that they'd all love to have all sorts of fun with you. Had they listened closely, they would have noticed the darker meaning behind his words. At the moment, though, they were too preoccupied with listening to the ever-growing sound of heavy footsteps approaching in their direction. Oh, those naive little ponies. I feel so bad for them because those splicers, oh my god, they are ruthless as fuck. Anywho, let's head on over to our extremely considerate donators. Top donators, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, and Ponyman. CourierCruz, Delta Omega, Strix, RuneScythe9852, dospo, Ryanny Dragonwolf, Secret Moon, Tallrascha, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brethren Mordred, Cerberus, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal K. Anderson, John Becker, and Leon Reynolds. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Live life to the fullest, and think twice before you trust someone.